I was given my first guitar for my 6th birthday, actually, by a man named Robert Duvall. I met him, he was at a restaurant that it literally is blocks from my house in my hometown. He was shooting a movie in Louisiana and he was looking for locations, and he saw me jamming with the band one night at Mulan's or whatever. Got to talking with my mom and dad and I, and invited us to go and be kind of like extras in this movie, right? Long story short, I don't know how, but he got on a plane, rented a car, and came to my 6th birthday party with my first guitar ever. I love smaller guitars, and I was up in Seattle at a music store, and I was just falling in love with different Martins, and it was becoming an obsession. And I got a call, actually, and it was essentially management talking about the fact that Martin has ambassadors that they work with, and they were calling about me, like they had heard my name or whatever. I don't know how it all happened, but I was so excited. I was just beaming because it was so, I don't know, it was just so cool because they mentioned, oh, the other Martin ambassadors are like, Mayer and Dirks and like all these other, just superstar acts. And this time I had barely had my first single out, so I was just like, this is so cool. And I don't know, I jumped at the opportunity because it was a big deal for me. I didn't know this, but apparently they hadn't done anything like this. This is the custom that we did together. And it's just koa back and sides, obviously spruce top, with just like a 42 inlay kind of program going on. And a couple little special things. They put my logo on the headstock, which I thought was one of the coolest things in the world. On this pickguard, this is a really cool thing that they did. I have on my OM42. At the time that I was on the road with it, we had painted everything, all our backline, with like this chalkboard paint, and we had chalk lyrics everywhere. I had put duct tape, gaff tape on my pickguard and painted For the Love of Music because I was painting lyrics, but I couldn't figure out what lyrics to paint. I was right before a show, and I had the little paint pen or whatever, and I just said, you know what, I'll just put For the Love of Music, because that's my thing, that's my heart. And so they found a picture of it, or they asked me to send them a picture, and they literally replicated my handwriting, but in pearl, so it makes it look way cooler. I love that a company that has so much history has so much desire to discover things, discover things just like I want to discover things. There's a common thread there, and I love it. You can rehearse on the same stage with the same sound system, the same instruments, the same gear, same lighting setup in the same room for a week, 2 weeks, a month, as many times as you want, 100 times. You can run a show 100 times. When you're playing in front of somebody, even if it's 2 people in the audience, the whole thing is just different. When you're in the studio, for heaven's sake, and you're cutting a record, like my favorite thing is when it's just one of my buddies walks in, because then I feel like I've got an audience. You know what I mean? It kind of like, it amps up your game, and it just, I don't know, there's something about playing and sharing it, I guess. There's something about that moment that just, that's what everything sort of rolls towards. That's what every decision is made to get to. And that's where I feel like I can be myself. That's where I feel comfortable. I'm very awkward. I'm very like, I don't know, I'm very uncomfortable off stage, really. It's taken me a long time just to get comfortable talking like this. But when I'm on stage, I feel like I can play, and that's my language. That's where I feel like I can really open up, I guess. We listen to country music a lot as a family. That's kind of our go-to. That's what we listen to. My dad listened to everything. He was constantly checking out new stuff. Everything from Percy Sledge record that we, spun for like a year straight, James Brown to Fleetwood Mac to Journey to literally everything. But when we get in the car and we turn on the radio, it was country, and it was so interesting to have all those different influences sort of wrap around this love that I developed for country, and it had a lot to do with specific artists there too. It was like Garth, I think, was one of my first and still biggest influences. Just the way just the energy he's got on stage. My secret life goal is for somebody to say, "You remind me of Garth Brooks," and I'd be like, "Yes! And then there was like Brian White, and then the Brooks and Dunn, and I just, you know, everything. And then when I started studying, so when I really started like listening to records for lyrics, when lyrics really started mattering, when I was like going through stuff, and like, you know, that's when music really kind of took a hold of me and like sort of held me in a way. I don't know, it just country always had that special ability. It's like your best friend. There's this weird thing that happens where your best friend can read your mind even when you're trying to hide something, and they know exactly what you need in the moment that you need something. Good or bad, they celebrate with you. They're there, they're happy for you when you're happy, and then they just know when something's up, and they know exactly what to do to fix it, and or they talk to you and they figure it out. That's kind of the role that country music has played in my life, you know, and that's why I'm attached to it and will always be for that reason. The success that's happened recently, first of all, is a life-changing thing in the most incredibly positive way. It's lifted me in ways I can't even describe. The things that have happened lately, especially with the last couple of songs that we've released, especially Invisible. And I guess the thing that motivates me the most is that every night, whether I've just finished a show or I'm at home waiting to get on the road, I go to bed every night and I just hope that that I'm able to wake up and keep doing what I do, because I live for it and I'm miserable without it. I'm absolutely miserable and I'm not myself without it. And I don't know, I just want to keep creating. I want to keep finding things. I want to keep discovering. There's so much more to discover. I barely even scratched the surface.